What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. It is a good day. Cardano's pumping, and there's a lot of cool news associated with Cardano, Argentina, whales, all kinds of good stuff. We're going to get into it. I'm super pumped, man. This is a good day. So we're just going to go ahead and start getting into things without too much preface here. So I'm still currently in my trade. I'm up 44.50. On my Bitcoin long. I don't know if we're going to get a reversal or not. We didn't go to the original, the local high, which is around 74,000. I'd like to see that, obviously, but we haven't seen that yet. We got a very big, the volume was really high on this little dump here. So somebody was trying to move the market, but it looks like it failed and then reversed. So on the short term, we'll see what happens, but I'm still in a long. I've been in this long trade now for over a month. I've watched it come down -$5 grand. I've watched it go up $3 grand like multiple times, and I'm just letting it ride. We'll see what happens. Currently on CoinMarketCap, this is an interesting thing, and this leads me to kind of wonder if there are certain things related to the market and how the market's priced in price action, because I just clicked 7 days, basically the top earners over the last 7 days. Notcoin is up. It's currently trading at 2 cents, up 80% with a $2.1 billion market cap. I don't even know what that is. Jasmy Coin, Ordi. I don't know what the majority of these are. I don't keep track of 30,000 tokens. I just focus primarily on Cardano, as we all know. But what I found interesting, Caspa has been up 25%. Injective is up almost 23%. Nervos Network up 22%. BNB token currently trading at $700, up almost 18.5%. Pyth Network up 18%. Toncoin up 17%. It's crazy. Filecoin up 16%. We're getting an altcoin rally, folks, and that's pretty much all there is to it. And it's very interesting. The Sandbox and Decentraland both trading at 47.5 cents, both up almost 10%. That is interesting. Why is this interesting? I didn't even notice this, but Sandbox and Decentraland both have very similar tokenomics. And this, you know what? As a matter of fact, I'm going to look. And then Cardano's up almost, it was 8.25%. It's currently trading at 48 cents. And there's a lot of interesting stuff we're going to touch on with that. I don't necessarily think that's a coincidence, but I am very curious if Kopi is up. Okay, Kopi is trading at 5 cents right now. That's crazy. I expected to see Kopi do a little bit better right now, but volume is up 165% on Kopi token. Currently at about $405,000 a day in trading volume, currently at a $47,000 market cap. I really do think that one of Kopi, like, everybody knows how amazing Cornucopias is and everything that it's doing. But I think its biggest holdback right now in terms of price is just people aren't able to really dive in and play it yet. They can. You've got the racing game. I'm personally not a race game fan, so I never really cared much about the racing side of things. But people want to be able to dive in and do things, right? And they want to be able to use their tokens. And right now, I think people are not seeing what are these tokens really good for just yet. And so there's going to be a lot of stuff happening over the course of this year, but I think one of the biggest things is how, when I did the recent interview with the team, and they basically said, some of the primary things that many of us are waiting for aren't going to be around until like 2025. And I think that kind of hit me a little in the gut, and it hit others watching, I'm sure. But that's okay. You know what? It takes, when you look at projects like Cornucopias and what they're achieving, they're the first to ever achieve any of the stuff that they're doing right now. Let's be real about it. So kudos for all of that. But on top of that, this is kind of like a Cardano thing, where it's like Cardano is being developed to be basically the best there is in the space. And in order to do that, they're having to do it properly. They're not just throwing a bunch of crap to the wall, hoping something sticks and makes them a lot of money. And it takes time. I mean, a lot of these MMOs are in development for 5 years before they're even announced in alpha, right? And we've been watching Cornucopias basically grow and be developed and come together in real time in front of our eyes, which it's a big teasing thing, right? Because we see what's there. It's like I saw this viral video about a hawk that flew into a car windshield to try and get a baby kitten that was on the dash. And it kept like hitting the window and didn't understand, right? It's like you want it, you see it, it's right there, but you're just hitting the window. And I feel like that's some of what might be happening with Cornucopias. We see it, we want it, but there's a window of time right now waiting for a lot of this stuff to come to fruition. So it is what it is. I expect to see Cornucopias do very well by the peak of this cycle, because Cornucopias tokenomics are almost identical to Sandbox and Decentraland, but with a much, much bigger, better metaverse in development. So, we'll see, but I'm still very, very bullish on Cornucopias. It's just going to take some time to get it to a point where we are all able to just dive in and start playing and building and all of the fun things associated with it. I like to see Filecoin. I want to check out IAG real quick. I want to see how is IAG comparing. Up 14%. There we go. All right. Up 14% on a steady incline. As many of you guys know, I bought IAG a while back because I looked at it as basically like the Filecoin of Cardano. And I'm glad to see that that's doing really well. Trading volume up almost 42%. Still a small market cap of $43.7 million. I'm excited about IAG, man. I actually think this is going to do very, very well. Currently trading at just 11 cents, almost 12 cents. I think I bought it. Where was it? Maybe somewhere around 8 or 9 cents, I think. Yeah, let me take this. Let me look at, that's just a daily. So yeah. Okay. Maybe I didn't buy it. Maybe I bought it at 10 cents. It looks like I would have had to have buy it at 10 cents. Because yeah. All right. Well, it's moving up, so I'm glad to see it's moving up. Let's take a look at what's going on in the world of Cardano. Cardano eyes 50-cent milestone as whales rally behind ADA. Whales are rallying behind ADA, all right, because they just launched some news I'm going to cover. Cardano to surge 50 cents if the resistance level at 44 cents is broken. Increased whale activity and positive active addresses and circulations indicates a bullish momentum. So this is happening. And if you look at the chart, this chart was basically at a 46-cent price point. Okay, bigger flaps by Cardano whales. According to AMB Crypto's analysis of sentiment data, there's a significant increase in the whale activity indicated by increased frequency of whales spikes. Look at these things. It's hard to see because they're not very thick, but boy, are they tall. Kind of like me. Oh boy. How increasing activity circulation can fuel Cardano. Basically, whales are accumulating. They're buying more. And it's funny because I swear to you, I just told my wife this morning. Last night, I had my finger on the button. I almost sold 2 Bitcoin to get more Cardano. And I didn't do it because I'm like, I have a decent amount of Cardano, but it's almost like this is a time I can feel it, because we've been pulling back on this rubber band of Cardano for a while now, and it takes time for Cardano to really move. I don't necessarily believe, honestly, if I'm just going to be real, I don't necessarily believe that the pump that's happening right now is going to be long form. I don't think that this is a catalyst to, we're going to just start pumping all through the month. Maybe we do. That would be great to see. But and if we do, I still think Cardano it's going to take a minute. And I could be wrong, because there's so many amazing things happening with Cardano right now, so many major milestones we're going to touch on. But I'm not 100% sold that this is going to be like the catalyst to $1. I think that is likely going to come next month, by the end of July. I think I'm expecting to see $1 ADA, and then just continue to move up from there and the normal ebbs and flows. But if we're looking at the chart, Look at what's been happening. I mean, this is pretty bullish, man. I mean, this is crazy. I had this here. I guess I'll put it here now. And this is what I'm expecting to see. We could get to 60 cents. A lot of analysts are basically calling for a 50 cent if we break above the 46. Well, guess what? We did. Not only that, we broke above this moving average, which has ultimately been a kind of a level of resistance, I guess you could say. But we broke above that. So not only did we break, and that's probably why the article is talking about 46 cents, because breaking above 46 cents means breaking above that moving average, which we did. And, now we're basically still within this zone. And, we've been trading within this zone for the most part with some minor breakups and breakdowns basically since April. I mean, towards the end of April. So, this is where we've been. And this is basically like a Wyckoff. This has been very much a Wyckoff. So if that's the case, then we could very well move up into the 50 something, 60 cent range and then start a new pattern. We could start a new accumulation pattern. But I'm very, very bullish on Cardano right now. Even in the short term, I think we might see some more because there's some crazy news that's coming. And I think it's a catalyst for some of this. And if you'll notice, not everything in the crypto market is pumping right now. I think that the market is segmented. Basically looking at coin market cap and looking at what's going on in the prices, we've seen Ethereum pump, we've seen Bitcoin pump, we've seen a lot of the main stuff pump, and now I feel like we're seeing it's almost like the B team, and I hate to say Cardano's in the B team, because that's basically what it looks like. I have to call it how I see it. I feel like you've got the A team crypto, where the whales and the institutions and everybody are moving money around. And then once they feel that they've gotten enough out of that, it starts moving into the B team. And if you want to know what the B team is, just look at anything right now with a double-digit increase. And that's basically what I see. It'd almost be worth making note right now of all of the coins with a double-digit pump. And then put them into two categories. And I'll bet you they start moving ebbs and flows up a ladder. What's the thing that wrestlers did back in the day? Well, I'm sure they still probably do it. You have the two pegs and you're basically sticking the pegs in the wall as you climb the wall. It's like brutally hard. I've done it in high school. It's crazy difficult. But that's what I think of. You've got like A team, B team, and that's not necessarily to say good or less good, but just that the market is kind of segmented. And a lot of that is, I believe it's probably segmented somehow based on market capitalization and other things. It's not like, well, these tokens are less than these tokens. I just think that there's a divide somehow. Charles Hoskinson blasts media's negative portrayal of Cardano's prospects. Charles Hoskinson, Cardano Hoskinson, that wouldn't be a bad name actually, has criticized the media for forecasting Cardano's demise, asserting that such claims are baseless and ignore the project's progress. And he's right. And the thing of it is that when it comes to the media, so much of the media is paid for. So much of the media narratives are sponsors. Whether they hide it or it's very subtle and you don't always see it, but a lot of it is paid for some way, shape, or form. And it's so easy for competing projects to buy these advertisements, and that's ultimately what they are. And I see a lot of these in the meme coin markets. I see a lot of narratives around Cardano. Why is the narrative around? Okay, here's what people have to understand. If Cardano was dead, which it's obviously not, if it was a ghost chain or if it was vaporware, I almost feel like there's another narrative in the world that keeps reinventing itself every 10 years. You know what I'm talking about? It's getting hot in here. And it keeps reinventing itself every 10 years. And it's basically this narrative that's always, it's always creating significant amounts of income or money for those perpetuating these narratives, but the narratives never actually seem to happen or even come close to happening. An example of that is I've seen recently, like in Dubai, in other countries, basically how they're showing time-lapse video from 1985 or 19 whatever to show how the water line has changed, because it's supposed to be like getting higher and higher all the time. And after like 45, 50 years, the water line hasn't changed whatsoever. And it just debunks a lot of these narratives that are being perpetuated by people that are profiting from it. Same thing is happening in crypto. A lot of these people are projecting all of these fake news ideas, especially the meme coins. You'll say, Cardano investors leaving Cardano in droves to buy whatever the shit coin is that they just launched like an hour ago, right? But there's so much of that, and it really does seem to trick newbies to the space that don't know any better. Maybe they found a bunch of videos about Cardano, but then they might go and look at the news and see, well, I just watched all these videos about Cardano with this article saying that people are leaving Cardano to buy dog token number 48, right? And then they get trapped because they're not sure what to believe. And that's the problem with the media and it's across all media and across all verticals. It's across everything. Media should not be bought and paid for the way it is. It's very, very easy. I'll show you at some point how easy it is to buy a narrative in the media. And the thing of it is that companies that shell out the most money for these paid articles and these sponsored articles will also generally get favor in non-paid for articles, because they know that more is coming so long as this medium supports whatever, right? So, and that's how these ecosystems are ran. And I see it constantly. And honestly, it makes me sick. But the question is if Cardano's community is so vast on a global scale, okay, that it's easy for people, and it's a captive audience. The Cardano community is a very captive audience. And so that's one of the reasons why so many people are trying to capitalize on that community by using Cardano and its content to try and draw people's attention and then divert that attention into whatever shitcoin they're trying to promote. If Cardano were dead, that practice wouldn't even be worthwhile. And that's really all there is to it. Cardano founder refutes media's gloomy forecasts. In a sharp rebuke this week, Hoskinson accused the media of wrongly predicting the downfall of the blockchain network and affirmed that the ecosystem is here to stay. Hoskinson highlighted the significant advancements made by Cardano over the years and outlined a major hard fork in the offing, which he described as the most significant in the project's history. Not only most significant in the project's history, most significant in all of frickin' crypto. Quite literally. He pointed to the rapid growth of community dApps, Cardano's role in scaling research and development, and the importance of upcoming events such as Rare Evo, the Foundation Summit, and Token 2049. There's so much going on, but this Chang hard fork is the biggest right now. The Cardano ecosystem is gearing up for the upcoming Chang hard fork, which is scheduled for the second quarter of this year. This upgrade represents a new era of governance for the Cardano blockchain. The fork will introduce two significant upgrades, Chang upgrade number 1 and Chang upgrade number 2. The first upgrade will deploy governance features on the Cardano network, initiating the technical bootstrapping phase outlined in SIP 1694, setting the stage for decentralized voting and governance actions. Building upon this, Chang upgrade number 2 will transition SIP 1694 out of the technical bootstrapping phase, unlocking the full potential of on-chain governance, including delegated representative participation and treasury withdrawals. You know that $1.5 billion or 1.5 billion ADA sitting in Cardano's treasury, just collecting over time through transaction fees and things? That's going to be $1.5 billion when Cardano reaches $1, and it will. What do you think is going to happen with that money? And when the community What is one of the biggest things that the community harps on Cardano about? Marketing. It has not really done any significant marketing that I know of ever, but this budget has just been growing. Can you imagine? What about Cardano at $2? That's a $3 billion budget in the treasury. I mean, just think about it. Cardano at $4, $5. What happens when the community is able to vote on marketing campaigns with billions of dollars at its disposal, driving adoption, driving education, driving the price ultimately? That's the thing about Cardano. I think Cardano has been buying its time, being patient, building the blockchain properly, against all the FUD, against all the naysayers, all the talkers, building up its coffers and its power ultimately. Because of that kind of money, you can literally own crypto media. I would even suggest, honestly, I might even propose it. I mean, Charles was talking about buying one of these media outlets, one of the larger media outlets, and he decided not to do it. But could you imagine Cardano buying one? And I think they should. I think Cardano should buy one of these significant media outlets and just keep things fair and create a fair crypto news site that doesn't do paid narratives. I'd be very interested to see how that could turn out. Let me know in the comments if you think that would be a wise way of spending a little bit of money. But the point is that as we head further into this bull market, with ultimately what's going to be billions of dollars in the treasury, enabling us to do so many different things, it's going to get absolutely insane. It really is going to get insane. And I think a lot of these paid narratives are going to go out the window real quick. And by that point, the gloves are going to be off. Now, this is huge. I didn't know this was going to happen so fast. Cardano Foundation announces major Argentine partnership to boost blockchain adoption. This is crazy. I did see the photo where they're sitting down at a table with documents and stuff, but I just thought maybe they were looking into something. I didn't realize that this was happening the way it is, and it's happening quickly. The Cardano Foundation has announced a public partnership with a regional government in Argentina in a move that could benefit the country's recent pivot towards crypto. Many are hopeful the partnership could act as a catalyst for ADA, Cardano's native token, which has failed to generate any momentum in an increasingly competitive market. This is all stupid bullshit. I don't know why they keep saying that. They should know better. Cardano's new partnership. According to an announcement by the Cardano Foundation, Rogelio Frigerio, what a name, the governor of the entire Rios province, and Rafael Fraga, I'm going to say Fraja. I don't know how to pronounce foreign names at all. You guys know I'm terrible at that. My wife always gives me a hard time about it. Latam lead for business development at the Cardano Foundation signed the agreement to make the partnership official. The partnership will focus primarily on facilitating blockchain adoption in the entire Rios province. The Cardano Foundation took to X to share the news of the partnership, stating, "We are delighted to announce a new partnership in Argentina. Following a public signing between the two, Cardano Foundation is collaborating with Entre Rios state to further blockchain adoption." Now, here's the thing. Cardano's been planting seeds all over the place, including the US, for their voting systems. What do we know about Argentina? Argentina, El Salvador, I think it's El Salvador, Venezuela, not Venezuela. It's El Salvador. There are so many of these countries, Dubai. There are a lot of these countries that have been attracted to Cardano and are starting to test and work out functionality and development for Cardano and how it can help their industry, their country, their systems, whatever. Slowly but surely, and I expect this to be exponential. Once the Chang hard fork launches and Cardano has its own true decentralized What's the word I'm looking for, folks? The left are ruining it every day. Constitution. Sorry, that wasn't skipped. That wasn't planned. I really was trying to trigger my memory. A true constitution to operate Cardano from, in a fully democratic system of community voting on what they want, what they don't want. Could you imagine a world where the public is able to actually vote on actions that benefit them as a whole, rather than have like a handful of people dictating what the people want, regardless of whether or not it's what they want? And that is the system ultimately that Cardano is building and implementing. And it's going to be happening in just a couple months. And this is such a huge deal, because then it empowers all of us token holders to play a big role in the future of Cardano. And, you know, you're seeing Argentina, who used to be very leftist. A lot of these countries that used to be really, really leftist have gone complete opposite directions and have been basically cleaning themselves up and doing very, very well. It's difficult for me to find words right now, because what this all means is so big, and I don't think a lot of people are going to get it. Argentina is looking to significantly boost its crypto infrastructure. The country's National Securities Commission recently announced a partnership with El Salvador's National Commission of Digital. That makes sense. This makes so much sense, because these countries are really turning shit around for the better, and it's freaking out all the other countries, including the US, because they're seeing what they've been able to achieve with just a clear head, a clear heart. What's the slogan in Friday Night Lights? What do they say before every game? I forget what it is. Clear eyes, strong heart. I don't know. So I can't remember, but that's basically what these folks are doing. With the goal of exploring Bitcoin adoption and crypto regulation, Argentina plans to leverage its technology sector expertise to enhance its crypto services efficiency. The move came after the country's Minister of Foreign Relations and International Commerce, Diana Modino, spearheaded a move to use Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies in contracts. The recent election of Javier Milei, Javier Milei was referred to as basically the Trump of Argentina. He was voted in, and people were crying in relief. They were, and this guy on another level of real. Like, if you go watch his videos, you have to read the subtitles. But if you watch this guy and you learn about him, and you'll realize that he is basically the Trump of Argentina. And he really has been like doing everything possible to turn back like all of the damage that was done prior to him. And other countries as well have been doing similar things, and basically doing things that are completely opposite of the leftist ideology that's basically been running things here for a while. And because of that, these countries have been turning around very, very quickly. Look it up. I mean, I'm not making up stuff. These are facts. Go look at it. If you disagree, you can't. It is what it is, folks. I'm sorry for those of you that get triggered off of stuff like this. Milei's administration has embraced cryptocurrencies and is planning to use them in payments under specific conditions. This is bullshit. I'm not even going to read it because it's nonsense. So whatever, Crypto Daily, you can do better than that. But anyway, at least they reported on it. And then this. Cardano fam, looks like we have a tentative date for the Chain hard fork number 1. And this is the image here that we're looking at. And it's basically showing Chain hard fork number 1 and 2. So basically in July and towards the end of August, we should have Cardano concluded. We should have the Chain hard fork completely done and ready. The most decentralized blockchain in existence, controlled by its community, and D-reps and things of that nature. And I really expect to see. Now, if you remember, I did a video probably 2 months ago, I'm guessing, where I basically was breaking down in a chart what I expected to see in Cardano's price by the end of July. Do you remember that? And now it's funny It's funny because this is all going to be happening starting the middle of July into August. And I'm pretty sure that my prediction in Cardano's price at the time was somewhere around $1.50. I'd have to go back and check. But that was just based off of Cardano's pricing structure in the charts as it's been since inception. And it interests me greatly that these catalysts, what I believe are going to be significant catalysts in Cardano's price action throughout the rest of 2024 into 2025, and they're happening in July and August. This is going to be big, folks. If you're not into Cardano yet, I'm just some old guy. I'm not a financial advisor. Don't listen to me at all. I'm always right sometimes, but I would seriously encourage people to really look into better understanding what's going on in the Cardano ecosystem and why it is so separate from everything else in blockchain. And it is in a league of its own. I don't even know if you could classify Cardano as third generation at this point, because when you're talking about governance, this is fourth generation stuff that we're getting ready to launch here. Nobody's ever done anything like it to date. And the one thing that I know that a lot of people on one side of the fence do not like is empowering the people to make decisions. They want to be able to dictate decisions. They want to be able to dictate what you think, what you say, what you do, what you eat, how you live, the whole nine, in favor of this supposed utopia that's supposed to rain down from the heavens on all of us for doing a good job. And that never works out, folks. I got news for you. It's never worked out. And the narrative to that has always ended in extreme mass destruction. I mean, it just always has, because that is not the natural course of things. The more you try to control people, the more chaos ensues. And honestly, I believe that I think a lot of that is happening all over the place for a lot of reasons I can't even get into here. But what they don't like is decentralization. They don't like the community being empowered. They like things centrally controlled. Now, to that end, when it comes to something like let's just say we were to have a global currency, okay? Let's just say, because, I am, believe it or not, I'm very much in the middle. I mean, it doesn't sound like it sometimes because I call out bullshit. And even the bullshitters know when they're bullshitting. Let's be real about it. They may not like it when people call it out or talk about it or there's any real discourse about it, but they know they're full of shit. And it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure a lot of these things out, being able to connect the dots. The problem is that with the majority of the country, they don't even know what dots are to be connected. So they're just kind of flying through life blind, oblivious to what's happening. And they just kind of read the headlines and they think, oh, wow, that's terrible. Or, oh, yay, we're going to get them. Whatever the case is. But they don't really understand anything. They just don't. They know what their neighbor said. They know what their wife says, so forth and so on. They just don't really have a clue what's going on. And they definitely don't have a clue what's going on in the grand world scale. They're completely oblivious to that because all they're used to seeing is 20 minutes of propaganda at night during dinner time before they go watch Netflix movies. They have no idea what's actually happening. So with that, though, if there is to be a global currency, let's call it a one world token, right? Should that token be centralized? Like, should a token that is being utilized for international finance from country to country and all of that, should that not be centrally controlled to the extent where if something happens or errors are made or something like that, that it's able to be pulled back? Because quite frankly, like a money wire transfer, if you wire money from point A to point B and there was an error, the banks just say there's nothing we can do about it. It takes days to do generally. It's cumbersome. It ties up capital for days on end. International transfers could take weeks, cost an exorbitant amount of fees, and then there's no way to fix something if it went wrong. That's old tech. That's archaic, right? And that's centralized. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a very centralized system, and yet they don't have a means of pulling things back. That doesn't make much sense to me. But with a blockchain-based a centrally controlled blockchain based system, especially with side chains and things, they could easily create something where they're able to send value from point A to point B. If an error is made, they can pull it back. And there's a lot of different things that they can do. I am of the camp that, like, listen, we're never going to use Bitcoin as like legal tender in all the countries of the world. Bitcoin is not the one world currency that everybody used to think it was. There's obviously going to be CBDC integration throughout everything. I mean, it just is. And you know what? We're passing things that are basically trying to keep CBDCs out of the states and out of the country and all of that. But what's going to happen is, I can tell you right now what's going to happen. Different countries are going to be adopting these CBDC tokens, and there's going to get to a point where the narrative will be, now this may be 5 years, it could be 10 years down the road, I don't know, but the narrative of the time will be, all of these other countries are conducting business through CBDCs. We have to adopt CBDCs to continue doing business with them to maintain our stature throughout the world. I'm telling you right now, that's going to be the narrative. One way or another, we're going to be running CBDCs in the United States. And that's just all there is to it. And the media and the governments and everybody, they're going to have a way of crafting these narratives to make sure that everybody believes it's a good thing for us all. I mean, that's just the way it all works. And they're going to have one side who listens to and buys everything, and they just gobble it up no matter what, because they trust. They're going to be the first to adopt it. And they're going to be the first people lined up at Walgreens to get it. I mean, let's just be real about it. I mean, this is our reality. There's so many people in the world that just don't have the time. They're trying so hard just to make ends meet in an economy that's just struggling. And so they don't have the time to sit around like some of us do, reading every article, watching every video, getting down to the nitty gritty, connecting the dots, understanding the grander picture and what's happening around us. They don't have the time, but they sure are opinionated, and they sure have really strong opinions about what they do believe. And I think that some people should just kind of, and I know some of you guys even say that to me, you should just stick with crypto, but it's like, I need to stick with crypto because I say things that a lot of you don't agree with, and that drives some of you mad. But I will say that I have had discussions with people that don't always agree with the things that I say, but you've still been respectful and cool enough to engage me in discussion about them. And that to me is key. And that to me is A-okay. I appreciate that because I respect people with a varied opinion, because like I always say, it's varied opinions that keep conversation moving forward. Otherwise, we just end up a stagnant swamp of shit. We don't want that, right? And I'm okay with having discussions with people that disagree with things that I say or believe or whatever. Bring it. Prove me wrong. I implore anyone to be able to prove me wrong. You can't just say you're wrong, though. That's the thing. That's easy. I can say everyone's wrong about everything and never actually have to back that up or prove it in any way. That doesn't mean anything. It's hollow. It's empty. And if that is the extent by which you are able to express your conviction on something, well, I just feel real strongly about it, that's not good enough. You got to come with facts. But I'm always up for a debate, a discussion, or whatever about anything that I feel or say or think. I'm not one of these emotionally triggered yoo-hoos that like, you disagree with me? How dare you? You're a terrible person. You should burn in hell. I'm not that kind of person. I'm very level-headed about things, and I just take in the information as I can, and I'm always trying to absorb as much of it as possible. In the grand scheme of things, I believe, and I brought this up with Charles, in the grand scheme of things, I believe that ultimately Cardano is going to be used to probably bring in forms of, dare I say, whether it's Cardano or Midnight, I believe that it's going to be used to bring in some form of CBDCs in some of these countries. I do. I think because it's the way it's been built for security, scalability, throughput, interoperability, all of that stuff. What's the one thing we're going to need if we've got 20 different countries, or let's just say that the world is broken up into 20 segments, and each one of these 20 segments has their own CBDC. What are we going to need for all of these countries, continents, whoever, to work together? Financially, well, we're going to need interoperability, because each of these CBDCs, for each of 20 of these places, they're going to need to be functional together and operate within the same economy, the same ecosystems, if you will. So not only is throughput and scalability going to be a major factor as more countries within these continents and more, I mean, it's going to be a growing ecosystem. It's not going to happen overnight. And Cardano, quite frankly, especially after August, is probably going to be the only blockchain I can see most people trusting to achieve stuff like that. But we'll see. I don't know. Let's go $1 ADA. Once Cardano finally reaches back to $1, I'll start feeling a lot more calm. And, I think it's just right around the corner. So until next time, guys and gals, thanks for joining me. Crow your coins, and I'll see you soon.